The Sokoto Book and Arts Festival 2025 is aimed at reshaping the narratives, celebrating cultural memory, and amplifying voices through engagement of arts and literature. It's currently underway in Lagos, Nigeria, under this year's theme called Intersections. And today we're going to break down one of the critical panel discussions that are going to be taking place at the Sokoto Book and Arts Festival. It's titled AI and Writing Incompatible, and this really explores the world of literature now that AI has taken the world by storm. How do we tell authenticity? How do you create using these tools and also encourage sort of a forward thinking part of literature? We're going to unpack this particular theme this morning with Fasasi Ridwan, co-curator of the SOBAFest 2025. Thank you so much for your time, Fasasi. Good morning.
Good morning. And yes, I am very honored to be here to discuss about SOBAFest and most especially AI and creative writing because I am also a writer, a poet to be specific.
Let's chat a little bit more about the SOBAFest first of all. How long has this particular Sokoto Book and Arts Festival been taking place, and what has been very exciting and new about the 2025 edition?
SOBAFest started exactly 2021, which make this year the 5th edition. And yes, what we've aimed to achieve so far is to bring creatives all around the world to kind of like discuss about literature, art, and most especially the Northern culture. You know, when we look at the Northern culture here in regards to literature and art, we notice there's this stiffness. So a group of people, let me say the group of students actually come together and feel like, okay, we can try to bring creatives all around because yes, we have talents, but then how do we explore them? And that is what Sokoto Book and Art Festival is all about. And yes, most especially, Sokoto Book and Art Festival 2025 actually comes with a lot of excitement because it is different. Why do I say it is different? If you notice what we are doing, our theme is actually intersection. And what do we aim to bring? We aim to bring different kind of things. We want to know how is the world viewing the Northern literature, how are they viewing the Northern culture? And one thing that's very distinct about it is that the new trend, the AI itself, we aim to explore how is it intersecting with this culture, with this Northern literature, with Northern art. So how are they intersecting? We are trying to bring a lot of components to see how is this influencing this? How is this influencing this? So I hope I have said enough about that.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And it's great that you're exploring all these challenging themes because I think they are very timely with us being in the middle of artificial intelligence and the world exploring robotics. I mean, as a writer yourself, how do you navigate artificial intelligence? Do you think it's an enemy of a writer? Or do you think it's the enemy of the reader as well? Because we, the readers, can't tell whether it's from the author or it's from a machine.
For me, maybe it is because I'm a writer. I have this very strong belief about emotions when it comes to writing. Because I'm a poet to be specific, like I said earlier. And one thing that holds literature or poetry to be very distinct is the emotion it carries. And for me, I believe that there is no how we want to do it. AI or robotics cannot give us as much emotion. In fact, I would say 0% emotion when it comes to AI. And that is what differentiates human writing from AI. Now, coming to the fact that most of these writings might come out, we won't be able to really kind of like differentiate between the AI writing and then the human writing. But one thing I'm always very specific about writing is the author itself. Where is the author from? When we look at how these AIs are being created, most especially the AI that we have now, let's talk about ChatGPT, let's talk about this Meta AI. We notice they are Western AIs. Yes, I know that we actually have African AI, but then the specific location of the writer usually influence them. So it is very easy to deduce, to kind of like fish out if there is something kind of like cunning when it comes to the writing. Because most especially if we look at Nigeria itself, you look at those that actually stays in North, you notice how they write is actually influenced by their culture, same as those that live in the East. And if we should look outside Nigeria also, we notice that the South African literature is a slight bit different from the Nigerian literature. So the location of the writers and how they are being influenced by this writing is what I'm usually focused on, to kind of like be able to distinguish if there is a bit difference between their between human writing and also the AI writing.
But Fasasi, is AI particularly an enemy of the literary world, or are we exploring enough tools that can actually help the writing world progress and, of course, adjust to where the world is now? I mean, they say if you don't adjust, if you don't adapt, you die. Is the literary world adapting to AI?
For me, I would say yes, and I would also say no, because it's a kind of paradox. And why do I believe it is a yes and also a no? Like I said earlier, I said AI can give us emotion, and that is already standard. AI can also tell our story intricately as much as we want to tell it. Because when we look at the way AI is being created, it is the mind of a lot of people. And what makes creativity distinct is a personal story. Like you want to tell a personal story. So it is very hard for you to tell from the minds of everyone when it comes to creative writing. But when you want to do maybe, let me say, article, essays, then you can actually go into that. But creative writing, it is just a big no. But then why I said it is actually more beneficial is that we can actually kind of like explore AI writing to kind of like think of how the future will look like. And that is when we get to talk about the speculative poetry, because we get a foreseeing of the future or what the future will be about. So as regarding the writing, AI won't be able to help. But for us to be able to kind of like write about what we think might be in the future, then it might be able to help.
Yeah, it's interesting what you're saying, because you are defending the skill of the writer because you are the writer yourself. In other parts of the world, the big exploration is that, are we going to need writers of different sorts, whether they're writers in the business space or writers in the creative environment? That's the big question around the world that people are asking. Is that something that you're going to be covering at the SOBAFest? And also, what is the critical authority that the writer actually has? We'll explore those themes after the break. Do stay with us there, Fasasi. We're speaking to Fasasi Ridwan, who is the co-curator of SOBAFest 2025. We want to get your thoughts on that one. What do you think about artificial intelligence? Do you think one day it's going to take the job of the writer, or my job, or your job? Who knows? Let us know on our WhatsApp number, +27 63 406 9126.
We are on Open Views Audio Bouquet. Channel 628.
The KwaZulu-Natal Convention Bureau, in collaboration with Milvest Advisory and the city of Mhlathuze, brings you the 2025 Tourism Investment Forum, Africa. By positioning these regions for sustainable growth, TIFA helps drive their economic ambitions while providing access to critical capital, networks, and strategic insights on investments in the trade services sector, such as tourism. Join us for the TIFA 2025 from August 27 to 29
at Tembela Venue, Richards Bay, KZN, South Africa.
Be part of the movement transforming tourism and infrastructure
In Africa. Get set and be ready to go. On the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
Hey, we're speaking about the literature world today, diving into a festival that is taking place right here on the African continent. It is right in Lagos, Nigeria, in that buzz of that city. And we're speaking to the Sokoto Book and Arts Festival, also known as the SOBAFest. It is looking at a wonderful theme, intersections. There's many intersections that are happening in today's world. Intersections between artificial intelligence and literature are ones that are making us question a lot of things, whether it's the idea of creativity, but also the moral obligations that we have in the creative world. Well, Fasasi Ridwan is the co-curator of SOBAFest 25. They have a very intriguing theme titled AI and Writing and subtitled Incompatible as a question mark there. It's someone might say, Fasasi, this is interesting what you're saying because you are the writer and you are defending your job or your creative outlet. The world doesn't look the same. What do you say to people like that who say, well, the time for the writer is over, artificial intelligence is here and it's here to stay?
Well, when you said I'm defending my job as a writer, I think the first thing I want to say is it is no, I am not. It is just the reality. You know, humans are bonded by fear. Yes, we have fears. We know this is coming as a threat. But then when we look at the way things are, we humans are just complicated in the sense that this thing we call threat are not really the threat, but we ourselves are the threat. And why do I say that? Now, when we look at AI, for example, AI is actually a tool that we can actually utilize. But then humans are how will I call it? They are kind of like over dependence on it. And that is what kills us. Now, on the aspect of AI taking our job, what I believe is, as far as creative writing is concerned, AI can take the job fully. It can't. Because let's look at, for example, what we are trying to explore in SOBAFest regarding the intersection. We are not only trying to deal with the AI and writing, but also we're also trying to deal with post-colonialism and how it has affected Nigeria, especially northern Nigeria. Now, we look at stories like this. We want people that will be able to tell us this story creatively from an original insight, not from a mechanical insight. And AI will never be able to give us this story. We want to write a story whereby our children will come in the coming years, in the coming generation, they'll be able to read this story and feel like, yes, there is this touch of human in it. And AI can never.
I want to find out from you, Fasasi, do you think that the literary world, that authors like yourself and even, literary enthusiasts or those who love to read, do you think that there is a pushback? Fasasi, are you there?
Yeah, I am here.
Okay. I was just finding out from you. Do you think that there's a pushback from authors and, avid readers alike from AI to hold on to that authenticity? And I know many industries are grappling with this, that, AI is making things inauthentic. Is it fine to just change and adapt, or should we be holding on to the authenticity of literature?
Yeah, that is really what I've tried to kind of like pitch out earlier in my reply to the earlier question. We need to hold on to the authenticity, especially in Africa. There's a lot of stories to tell, and we need to tell it in its original form. We don't want it to come in form of, how will I call it, adulterated. Now, when we look at the way algorithm works, it's tried to pick. Like it tried to solve the question by picking randomly from different sources. So for example, when you go to AI and then you typed about, I want to know about Africa, it brings different information from all sides, right? From the Western side, from the African point of view. You are not able to kind of like pinpoint precisely what you want to know about Africa. And it is the same when it comes to creative writing too. It is the same thing. So we want a situation whereby everybody will be able to tell their story. And when we look at the way African is, we are a very wide range of people. We want a story that will be very authentic. We want a story that we'll be able to read and feel like, yes, this is what really happens. We want stories that have been told from our point of view, not stories that are picked from random sources. Because when we look at the way stories are being told, everybody has their sides of story. The white men will come and tell us that, oh, we met Africans as an illiterate. But then that is just a very big lie, because African is actually an educated continent. We've been dealing with mathematics, literature, everything. In fact, we are one of the advanced world before they actually came. So they are going to tell that story from their point of view. And also we need to tell our story from our point of view. But then when we look at the way algorithm works, it kind of like bring in from every point of view, and it doesn't allow us to be able to pinpoint precisely which is the truth. So we need people to tell the story from our point of view as Africans.
Yeah.
We want them to tell the story and let it be very authentic.
So, Fasasi, let's zoom into the festival itself. How have things been going? Tell us a little bit about some of the themes. You are co-curator as well of this gathering. Let us know how the event has been and some of the keynote speakers that have been involved in this year's festival.
So the truth is, this festival happening in a very kind of area that literature and art is not really being embraced is kind of like very hectic on the part of both the organizers and then the curators. Special thanks to Uchenna Emelife for supporting, for being the backbone, because the reality is that if it's just left to us as the curator, we've gotten to a point that we almost broke down because we feel like, oh, how do we want to kind of like go with this? How do we want to make this Sokoto Book and Art Festival 2025 a success? But yes, we are getting close, and with what we've done so far, we believe that it is going to be one of the biggest festivals of this year. Now, coming to look at who we are bringing and those we are bringing, we are trying to bring artists, trying to bring poets, writers, journalists to discuss, to analyze, to see how all this team that we're bringing together, all these challenges, how have they come into us and how can we actually proceed after the solution. So we are trying to bring writers, trying to bring journalists, most especially those that are actually in depth with all these discussions. Now let's take Adamu Yauza Abdullahi, for example. He's a poet and also he's a northern poet to be specific. So let me put it this way. He's one of people that we know that definitely they're actually interested in what happens, especially in the northern Nigeria. They are interested in how Nigeria operates, what has been the problem, what will be the problem, and what solution can we profile. We talked about, okay, there's also this big artist here. We talk of Boys Kido. We talk of how are these people actually infusing the northern culture into the modern Afro music. So all these people, we are trying to bring them in to show, to let them know that, okay, this festival is all about intersection, to know how arts, how literature, how are they intersecting with the world, and how is the world meeting the northern culture.
This sounds incredible indeed. Where can we go to find out more information about the Sokoto Book and Arts Festival, Fasasi?
Yes, there's actually a website, and it is under www.bookoclock.com. You can actually check us. There's a section that is dedicated to SOBAFest. It contains all the details of SOBAFest that you need. You can get our ticket, both virtual and also the highlights of the event, both the first day. I don't know. I did not make a proper analysis of how SOBAFest is being run. It's a 3-day event. The first day is usually virtual discussions, which might come in form of like 4 virtual discussions. Then the second day is the main day of SOBAFest, whereby it is physical. And that is the day the gathering actually takes place, whereby there is book discussion, panel discussion, poetry performance, drama, every kind of play, every kind of performance. While the last day is usually the night of performance. And that is specifically for the open mic section where everybody gets to perform their piece, sing to us. If you want to play guitar, yes, you are welcome.
Okay, that sounds very intriguing. We've run out of time, Fasasi. Where is it taking place? Is it happening in Lagos or is it happening in Sokoto? Let's just to get that correction there. Where is it actually happening?
Yeah, thank you for that. I actually wanted to make mention of it where you said Lagos. Sokoto Book and Art Festival is taking place in Sokoto State.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for that correction. Well, we'll leave it there. I hope everything goes well there and enjoy yourself as well. That's Fasasi Ridwan, who is the co-curator of SOBAFest 2025.